I've got an amazing, easy to build, easy to set up, 100% early game, free to play team, one team that will help you get 6-star artifacts. This team I'm going to show you here using exactly these guys with the gear suggestions I make and with my skill setup preferences will allow you to beat Ice Golem 13 and Dragon 13. Actually, on my account, it goes all the way up to Dragon 16. I've yet to try higher in the Ice Golem, but it is reliable, it is easy, and you can get this done within your first week. Right now, I'm on day 13 of my account, but you can see I haven't pushed so far in terms of development. I've been trying to stay efficient and not over-expend my energy. We've got 2 6-stars in Alice and Kale, about as free-to-play and starter as it gets, at least right now in the game, February 2025, where Alice is your 7-day login champion and Kale is your starter, and actually the rest is totally free to play as well. Let me explain. You might be wondering, how do you get Tagoar? How do you get Uugo? What's going on with Frozen Banshee? Tagoar, Uugo, Corrado, and Rector Drath all come 100% for free almost immediately upon download when you use my link in the description of this video, top pinned comment. Don't got to do if you don't want to, but it's going to make this easy as heck. You get Corrado on download, then Tagoar at level 10, Uugo at level 20. You'll have those 3 within your first 2 or 3 hours playing, and then within your first 2 to 3 days, you get Rector Drath. I mention Rector Drath because yes, Frozen Banshee, super accessible, easy to get, rare, but there is some luck involved there. Rector Drath can swap in on both these teams for Frozen Banshee. The DPS will be a little less because you don't have the reliable poisons. The runs might be slightly longer. However, they're like 100%. They've never failed in all my testing because Rector Drath is a reliable support. So running your DPS at 60 and then either Banshee or Rector Drath at 50 and then Uugo at 50, Tagoar at 50, this completely works. So you saw I just did Ice Golem. Little less interesting, I think, than Dragon. Dragon, especially for a new account, that's where the sexy stuff is at. So let's do that one. Then we'll circle back to the Ice Golem. We've got my team here for Dragon 13. Wouldn't you know it, it's the same team. A couple placements have changed. We're now using Alice as a lead instead of Tagoar. If you feel like you need more tankiness and survivability, put Tagoar in there. You can use him for the 25% HP in all battles. And then if you do have Banshee and you're copying this guide, you can use her for a little extra accuracy, 35 accuracy in all battles. That's how I originally did it until I got my skill tunings, my skill order set up a little better, as we'll go over right now in the team setup. So for this run in Dragon 13 or in Ice Golem 13, you can start with Banshee for the accuracy. You can start with Tagoar for the HP. You'll see I used Tagoar for the HP in the Ice Golem, or you can use Alice for her attack aura. So let's head into the team setup, and I'm going to take you through the turn orders, explain my thinking, but also it's a really easy way for you to see the total stats. Because if we go in here, we can go down the list champion by champion, and the total stats are here on the right. And I will go to the champion selector screen so you can see the specific gear sets they're wearing, but this is a nice little overview. Here is my Alice, just over 26,000 HP, a hair under 3,000 attack. You can see about 1,500, 1,600 defense, 181 speed, crit capped, 60% crit damage. This is not a crazy build. 62 resistance, 149 accuracy. I am not going to take you through every single champion. What I'm going to do now that you see where everything is, I'm going to click through, and you can pause as you need if you want to copy my stats. Here is Banshee. Make note of the speed and accuracy. Same with Kale. Make note of the speed and accuracy. Then we have got Tagoar, and finally we have got Uugo. So there you have it. They're all in this relatively, for where I'm at in the game, decent speed. Nothing too special. Uugo obviously is quite fast, but everyone else is around the 180, 150 mark, 167, 181 over here for Alice. If I can click on her, you can see it's pretty solid. There's a general rule of thumb in Raid Shadow Legends. The stage you're on, multiply that by 10. This is for the dungeons, the keeps, stuff like that. That's typically how much accuracy you need. You can obviously go to a Yumi Love or Hell Hades' website where you can get specific accuracies, like to the actual T, what you need based on the target resistances. But in general, we're doing stage 13, so you'll want about 130. You'll see with my Kale, he's at 113. However, when I show you Kale and Alice's masteries, this will make sense. Before we go into the specific artifact sets and then we start battling, because once we start battling, we're off to the races, baby. I do want to talk to you about the logic going into this turn order. You might have noticed I have a Dragon 13 setup and a Dragon 16 setup. Essentially what I'm trying to do is clear the waves as fast as possible while making sure I have the skills available when we reach the dragon that I want available at that point. So I could clear the waves much faster than you're about to see, but I actually do a slow burn that I've maximized to ensure we have as many skills active and off cooldown when we reach the dragon as possible. So let's go into this with Dragon 13. At the very end of this video, I'll show you my Dragon 16 run, and you'll see how it differs. But basically, Alice for the first round, let's use that AoE. Now that we're talking about skills, it is worth mentioning, almost none of these guys are max skills. Obviously, my two rare champions, Frozen Banshee and Kayle, are. But aside from Uugo, who's nearly max skilled as an epic, this is maxed. Her A2, which is amazing, is maxed. And this is nearly, needs one more cooldown. Tagoar, barely any skill ups. Just the 3. And then nothing on Alice. I actually have not decided where I want to use my legendary books yet, though very likely they will eventually end up on Alice. She is that good, and you're going to start unlocking souls for her and those blessings. She is going to be on a whole nother level for a new account right now in Raid Shadow Legends, unless you find tremendous luck elsewhere. Crazy, guaranteed, powerful, powerful legendary to start. So Alice, you can see we're doing AoE on round 1, AoE on round 2, and then for round 3, I open with Queenslayer if it's available. No AoE, it's just the dragon, and then I'm whacking away with the basic. I'm whacking away with her A1. That's because after that first hit, if we do end up doing that opener with the Queenslayer, the dragon's almost always going to have something on cooldown, so this is going to be a triple hitter. You'll see with my masteries, currently, very early game build, eventually you should reset this. You get one free mastery reset. My Alice is in Giant Slayer. This is a great early free-to-play way to get a ton of extra damage out of Alice, because there's tons of boss content where you can literally just run her basic attack. Like Clan Boss, everything's a triple hitter after the first round. So you could theoretically go another 49 rounds with a guaranteed triple hitter every time, and the A1 hits pretty hard. For Banshee, we want to take full advantage of her poisons once we reach the dragon. So I want to make sure she's not using Frostblight. This is the move that gives poison sensitivity and then allows this A1 to land poisons because the target needs to be under poison sensitivity. I want to make sure that is just not being used and is fresh and not on cooldown when we reach the dragon. So you can see what we're doing there. Key thing I'm doing if you are going to use Frozen Banshee, I'm always opening with her A1. That's because her A2 needs the targets to have debuffs on them. So I want to give the rest of my team a round to put debuffs out. So then on her second turn, she can hit someone and give us a little turn meter fill. So you see, it's the same story for the first 2 rounds. Then we turn that A2 off, Cruel Exaltation, and then we are prioritizing Frostblight, and we're getting a lot of poisons out then from the A1. For Kayle, interesting thing, I don't want to ult with him on round 1, because I want to make round 2 an easier clear. So we're going to save it, don't use it. We'll open with the A3, then we're going to prioritize the A2, the big AoE, for round 2 to make it faster. We don't need the AoE for the 3rd round. We're going to go Disintegrate, lots of poisons, extra poisons from the A1. We're opening with the A1 though, because we want to make sure Uugo gets out her decreased defense, so this hits a little harder when it comes on the 2nd turn, not the 1st round of turns. Tagoar, let's go a little faster now. We've turned off the A2 and the A3 for round 1. Doesn't matter. We're going to nuke it just fine with Alice and with Uugo. Uugo putting out the debuffs, Alice putting out the damage. Then we prioritize Charge Chant over here. Actually, if you want to make it even cleaner, set it to opener and then don't use in case it goes a little longer for you. Rise and Fight should be off as well. So let's make sure we do that. There's a key reason I'll explain in a second. And simple as that. Round 3, we open with Rise and Fight. This is a safety valve. This is a catch-all in case someone died. For me, usually Frozen Banshee, we want to pick them up from the beginning, and then from then on out, we're prioritizing the big heals and the increased speed. Finally, with Uugo, round 1, we're opening with the AoE decreased defense and the block buffs. Then round 2, we're turning it off because we want it ready for round 3. It works out perfectly this way. We also want to open with Uugo's Brew, her heal, which, by the way, if you want to make it really perfect, you should turn that off round 1. This is so you make sure she uses it up because you want it a little later on in round 3. Her AI is stupid and she'll use it right away when no one needs a heal and when no one needs a cleanse. So use it in round 2, waste it, set it on cooldown, so when it comes back around in round 3, you're ready for it at the moment you actually need it. And then round 3, we obviously prioritize the AoE decreased defense, in this case just a normal decreased defense, and the block buffs. We just want to get that defense break and make it easier. That is the whole run. So let's go to the champion screen. I'm going to so quickly show you the gear, and then we can finally end the battle. This is my Kayle, nothing too crazy at all, as you can see. A very beginner lifesteal set. This is something I got from the campaign, some other random pieces, and then 2 broken set pieces. Just making it happen, making sure he has at least 85+% crit rate, because he gets 15% bonus crit rate from his A2, that big AoE we're going to use on round 2. And aside from that, we want some attack, we want accuracy, we want speed. He could be a little bit more accurate, but we're going to get away with it because of his masteries, which are here. I'm not going to break these down, but you can pause it if you want and, you know, maybe take a picture of the screen. I think this is an amazing, amazing beginner Kayle build. On to Alice now. I think my Alice masteries are fantastic. I know some people will push back on going for Giant Slayer. It does become suboptimal later on, but we have the free reset for a reason, right? We have the free mastery reset for a reason. For tons of early game stuff, unless you're a super Kraken or you're really lucky, you are going to lean hard on Alice. And because you want to use her in wave clearing, in arena, and in bosses, the Giant Slayer allows her to have a lot of versatility. It's going to be something you outgrow, but there's a lot of boss content like Dragon, like Clan Boss, where you can turn off her A2 and A3 and just let her whack away with triple hitters and get tons and tons and tons and tons of use out of this. You really can, and it is phenomenal. So these are my Alice masteries. You can pause it if you needed, rewind a few seconds. Let's talk about her gear. It's like the best gear on my account. My gear kind of blows. This piece is solid. This piece is solid. This piece literally just happens to be 6 stars and has some speed. Nothing else too special. I like the substats on this, but we're broken set. Then we're going for speed. With speed, it's not such special gear. I wish it was, but it's not. Just have done very little farming, but we can still get away with this. This is going to be our Banshee. You can see we got a couple pinpoint pieces from the event dungeon, 3 pinpoint to be exact. Then we got 2 pieces of perception and then broken set over here, this random lifesteal piece with some nice speed subs. Now on to Tagoar. You can see there's a theme with my gear. It's fine, but it's extremely early game. It's not special. You can see we got 2 speed sets and an immortal set. The immortal set's kind of nice for a little bonus healing. This piece is very sad with flat HP. This piece is okay, I guess. It's not too special. We're just looking for speed, and we're looking for a little tankiness, and we're just trying to survive. Finally, my Uugo is very fast. I have these very, very weird gauntlets on her that have flat HP, which sucks, but a triple speed roll. This is the best piece on my account, this perception weapon. It matches this one over here, 1 perception set. Then we have 1 speed set. And then finally, stupid resistance chest, but I was going for speed because we need that for the arena. You can see these builds, I'm not bragging about them. They're not special at all, but hey, they're getting the job done. What more could you want, right? So without further ado, let's go into it and let's watch this. Let's just double check. We've got my Dragon 13 settings. So let's go in, see how it happens. So we're going to open with that Uugo AoE drop defense. Now here comes the Alice AoE, and you can see she's slapping, and we've had the drop defense. So Kayle's A3 there was able to take a lot of stuff off. I'm going to make myself a little smaller so you guys can see better. Now Kayle's going to come in here. There's a little speed booster. And now Kayle comes in with the AoE. And even without the drop defense, even this lame build is good enough for Dragon 13. It's not as hard as you think. You can that quickly be farming 6-star gear. Chip away at these guys. Everyone's basically just going to be using their A1s right now. And now it should line up that basically everyone's ready. So you can see we got Uugo with the defense break. We got Alice there with the God Slayer or the Queen Slayer, whatever it is. I could have actually had Kayle go with the A3 first, but just to be safe in case Uugo went out of sync, I like to do it with that delay. There is that A3 though, and look how many poisons we're already stacking. Kayle can do it enough, but if you've got Banshee, she works really well. Otherwise, just bring in Rector for some extra support. We're stacking these on, and you can see it's pretty comfy. It is pretty comfy. Even with Tagoar on the 5-turn cooldown for the increased speed and the big heal, as opposed to the 3-turn it will eventually be with skill ups, we're making it work because they're pretty slow and we're pretty fast. They're not special, but we're fast enough. There you go. The dragon just needs to take a turn. That was pretty nice. When I filmed, we got our best time. I will definitely take that. You can see the little damage output. Some nice stuff from Kayle and Alice. Banshee, all her damage was just at the end, a couple extra poisons during the dragon. And obviously she put on the poison sensitivity, which helped boost Kayle's damage. Let's see if we got anything for our trouble. We absolutely did not. That is going to be our dragon run onto the Ice Golem. The Ice Golem over here, Ice Golem 13. I haven't tried pushing harder yet. Like I said, I'll show you my Dragon 16 at the end. Slightly different setup here. We switched our aura from Alice to Tagoar. You definitely want the extra tankiness. I will click through now everyone's skills if you want to copy my presets, but I don't think I'm going to explain everyone in as much detail. It's pretty simple. We wipe these guys comfortably. It's a strong affinity for us. It works well. It's an all magic team, and these guys are spirit. Magic is strong to spirit, so we're good. The issue is not the hardest problem to solve, but you got to make sure you solve it. If you're bringing someone like Kayle and someone like Alice, 2 big AoE heroes at this point in the game, you're going to be doing too much nuking, too much AoE during the boss. So that's the key thing I want to show you. So let's just start here. Let me show you Tagoar, round 1, round 2, round 3. I think it makes enough sense. I don't think we need a huge explanation. Let's go. Let's skip Alice and Kale. We'll come back. Now we've got Banshee. Same exact story as Dragon. Same logic there. Then we have got Uugo. Round 1, we're not going to use the Maelstrom Rack, the AoE decreased defense, because Alice and Kale really just have it covered. Round 2, same story. Round 3, we will lean on it, but kind of just using it as the defense break, but not to enable big AoE. So what am I talking about? Let's go to Alice over here. If we go to round 1, this is round 1 now, we're prioritizing the AoE. Round 2, we're turning it off. And then round 3, we turned it off in round 2 to make sure in round 3 we can use it just that first time, and then we're turning it off because we don't want to lean on it too hard. If you don't know, whenever the boss drops below these big thresholds, he hits with a huge AoE, and it can really just ruin your run. So we actually want to lean on the single target kind of stuff. If you want, you could even turn off Queenslayer. I keep it just in case you can double kill the ads because there's different RNG that could line that up. Let's go to round 1 now for Kale. You can see we're turning off the Acid Rain here, the AoE. That's because Alice is going to have us covered with that. Round 2, we're opening with it. We're prioritizing it. And then round 3, we've turned it off. We're just going for the Disintegrate, the Poisons, and then the basic attack, the A1. Because if we do too much AoE, you'll see it when we reach the boss, it falls apart, even though we're very overpowered for this. We're actually too overpowered, and we're triggering too many big slams from the boss. So let's head into battle. And that's another reason why I didn't put Alice in the attack aura lead spot, right? I don't want extra attack. We were hitting too hard. So you can see we haven't done any special debuffs or anything. We're just taking care of this. There you go. Alice wasted another AoE, but it doesn't matter because here comes Kale. There's this Queenslayer. She's like one-shotting some of the guys. There's Kale, and he takes enough off of everyone that we're completely fine. So we just chip away here. Alice triggered her passive. These street guys will be annoying at later stages in the Ice Golem, but at stage 13, it's fine. So there's the AoE decrease defense. You can see we actually didn't land it on the left one there. That's just bad luck. And now we're off to the races. So we've already used our AoEs. We don't care anymore, and we just want to chip away. I'm going to take a moment to pause and actually show you this skill. It's not going to let me. Okay, let me throw it on 1x and click and show you. So if you look over here, this passive, whenever he drops below these HP thresholds, he does a big AoE slam. He's got a chance to freeze you, which increases based on if the ads, his little ice assistants, are alive or not. And additionally, he'll ignore more defense if they're alive, right? He'll ignore an additional 50% for each one that's alive. So if they're both alive, you're getting lit up. So it can happen that you're just putting out too much damage too quickly, and you can't do it. So we're going to lean more into that random hitter from Kale and then lots of single target from Alice. And you'll see it's actually fairly smooth. We still take a lot of damage because he has way too many thresholds he drops below. It's very annoying, but we're fine. There, Alice got the kill, so we triggered the passive. This guy's putting on the defense break. That's where we need. Ideally, you'll want the full skill ups into Uugo, but we'll hold on. It looks precarious, but do not worry. As long as we make it like halfway through and there's no unlucky freezes, Kale will take over from there. We should have a Tagoar A3 coming up soonish. There's a little big speed boost. That'll help. But you can see if we did an AoE right now and triggered it when we didn't want it, he could wipe like Alice out, or he could have a couple minutes ago. There we go. We landed some poisons. Bringing someone like Banshee, in theory, is kind of nice here because if you drop him below those thresholds with poison or HP burn, something passive like that, it won't trigger the big slam that you just saw. But it's really hard to control. Banshee's pretty darn suboptimal. I just wanted to show you that basically these guys can quad it. Rector Drath would be better if you have her, or some additional support. The only DPS you really need are these two guys. But you see, it's kind of a slow one, which is lame because we can put out a ton of damage, but it's the way I think you have to do it. So there's the AoE. Now we're landing some poisons, and now it's kind of home free. Even if everyone else died, we've got Kale in the lifesteal, which I definitely suggest one of these two guys being in lifesteal. I prefer Kale. Maybe even having both. That's a real early game move. You're kind of in control because even if they were to wipe you, you're going to keep healing up. Now we've just cleared the last threshold, so they're just going to focus the boss, and he going to die. So there you go. That's the one super early game team to rule them all. The significance of stage 13 for any of these dungeons is that's when you first unlock the opportunity to get 6-star gear. Look at that, another flat stat. Just another day in Talaria, baby. Flat stats galore. Better than the brews, man. I've been seeing so many brews dropping. It is crazy. But you'll see, stage 12, 4 to 5. Stage 13, that's when you unlock it, 4 to 6. It's the same for the Fire Knight. It's the same for the Spider. It's the same for the Event Dungeon. the queen dungeon we have right now, and certainly it's the same for the dragon. However, if you can do what I'm about to show you in the dragon, this can be really huge. So you may notice you unlock at stage 13 4 to 6 star artifacts, right? And that continues all the way up to 19, all the way up to 19, right? It's not until 20 that it goes 5 to 6 star. If you can get to 16, this is a great place to farm. Now, why do I say that? Because you'll see nothing changes here. Maybe I'm sure there's a distribution change, but the range of what you can get from 16 to 17 is still 4 to 6 star artifacts. However, the entry cost, the energy, is 2 more. So 16 is a great place to max out and kind of hang out there while you want to farm until you can reach 20 in something and then be guaranteed at least 5 stars. Because do you really want to spend 2 more energy? There might be a way over a huge sample that it does even out, but it's a pretty good place, especially early on. You just want opportunities to get stuff. 16 is a great place to be. So let's head in. My settings are a little different because we're a little weaker. I'll go through them really, really quick right now if you want to see. You can pause. Same team though. Again, Rector Drath would work totally well here as well. That sounds silly. But it is, I'm blocking the round 1 thing. Well, you can figure out where that was. Don't worry. There you go. But it's nice to have the poisons. Banshee's particularly good in the dragon. So without further ado, let's enter the battle. Hopefully it's nice and clean, no more than 2 minutes. And that's where I'll leave you guys. So let me know if you like these kind of guides. I have not made a content guide in Raid Shadow Legends, like how to beat something, in almost 4 years, like over 3.5 years. So I might be rusty. It's a little different than the stuff I normally make guide-based content on, but there should be a lot more coming. So if you appreciate that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know if this helps you. I really hope it does. It might seem like a little win getting to these stage 13s, but it kind of is everything when you're early on and your gear blows. So now that I've made this video, I can move on and do some re-gearing. I just have kept this gear for a long time to show you guys the gear I originally beat it with. I'm also going to put some souls on Alice. So if you're coming up to this, a little later on, maybe not the first week or 2, but maybe the 3rd or 4th week, once your Alice has blessings and you got brimstone going, stuff like that, it's only going to get easier. So don't be intimidated too much. You can make big pushes. Just make sure to get the proper team setups, the proper turn orders every round, and you're good. So here we go. We reached the boss. Good stalling. And things should line up pretty well. There's the just in case save. And you look, we got the poison sensitivity with Banshee. We land a couple poisons with Kale. And Alice is just a straight A1 machine. I'm going for those Giant Slayer procs. Banshee, now that the poison sensitivity, she's landing 2 poisons whenever she does her basic. Also, you notice I'm not running Alice in the lead aura with the attack. I am running Banshee. 35 accuracy might not seem like much, but early game, it can be the difference. And for me, it is. Otherwise, Kale would not be landing these debuffs. Another poison sensitivity from Banshee, and we're kind of cruising. The dragon hits hard. At times, it feels tough, but you'll stay alive. You bring your 2 supports, really Tagoar carrying you. And if you watched my video yesterday, I was saying I wish I booked Tagoar first. It does help booking him before Uugo. I'd rather have a little less time on the defense breaks early on and a little more uptime on the increased speed and the big heals from Tagoar. But you can see nice and comfy. We are in control. Big stack of poisons here. At this point, it's a waiting game. We just wait till the dragon takes enough turns so you can coast to the end and he dies from the poisons. We might even get a kill from Alice or Kale here. Let's see. Can Alice get the kill? I think so. Nope. That was a rough hit, and we only got 1 Giant Slayer proc. However, we got tons of poisons. The second this dragon takes a turn, he's done. He doesn't even get a chance. Kale picks him off. And there you go. Let's check these final boots. So we get 1 good thing. No, three runs, 3 flat stats. Welcome to Raid Shadow Legends. Guys, if you want the best start possible and you want all these heroes you've been watching me use, definitely use my link below. If you like my stuff, again, my name's Fastidious. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your mother, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Fastidious.